analysis of Nick here. For this video, I'm gonna talk about games that without maps or mini maps or whatever. So obviously maps, they're there as a guide to show you where to go, what's important like in the world, what's the next objective, or if you get lost. The non-map games, they're more common in like action adventure, no, story-oriented type games, or action adventure, or games that were remade from in the 90s to now. So like, share, subscribe, guys. Share the video all over. Thank you for getting me to 150 subs. And going forward, I'm gonna probably do more movie, TV show content, right? So I'm gonna kind of mix it up more. So a great example of games that without mini maps is King Kong. King Kong, you're literally like, it's just this path, right, where you gotta either play as King Kong or Jack, right? So man or beast. But like, when you're Jack, it's very interesting in that I talked about this a lot before, but you're basically fighting with sticks as a first person view. You're fighting with sticks and guns, going from area to area and fighting on dinosaurs, insects. But there's no map, there's no guide to tell you like where to go. You have to listen out to the dialogue of the companions to tell you, okay, it's trapped. There's a trap here, or just look around like in the environment. And fire is very important in that fire burns down bushes, clears barriers, will kill creatures easily, and yeah. So it's mainly listening for dialogue as your map. The dialogue is a map, or I look out for the barriers and bushes, burnt bushes, or no, not burnt bushes, dried up bushes. They're barriers in the game. So yeah. It's not so much a big deal like when you're King Kong, because like when you're King Kong, there's no map, but you just follow the action, follow wherever there's an enemy or boss or whatever. But yeah, King Kong, that's an example. A great example is Max Payne 3. I keep thinking that this game has a map, but it doesn't. There's no mini map, so well, mostly listen out for dialogue, and well, not really. You gotta kind of explore. You go from little area to little area. It's shootouts, right? It's bullet time shootouts, and you're usually outnumbered. I just go wherever like the enemies come from. Like you'll see the enemies, they'll enter like a certain area from a certain door. Usually the door is on the other side of the room from you, and the enemies will enter the stage from there, and then that's where you would go next to trigger the next cutscene, or the cutscenes, they're very weird in this game, but yeah. And dialogue as well, you talk, say, okay, garage door, or train area, or a suburb area, so. But it gets confusing like when you get to like an area, Brazil, where it feels like a maze you're going through, and there's no map to help you. A lot of the you're in the slums of Brazil, so a lot of the areas, they seem very similar. They seem very, very, very similar, and you get very easy to get lost. But yeah, decided to X-Men Wolverine Origins, same idea. Whereas Origins, it's mainly fighting. That's mostly what it is. Fighting your way through hordes of enemies, tons of enemies in the game. Sometimes I feels like it's never gonna end. But with Wolverine, there is puzzles. Similar to God of War behind it. There is puzzles in that. Well, I move the platform to here, move it on this lever or whatever, and then it'll activate at the next room, or defeat all enemies like in a certain area, then I move on to the next area. But there's no map to guide you from area to area. But you kind of get a good idea of where to go, and where you came from as well. Like common sense, I will tell you that okay, I came from this way, I gotta go the opposite way, right? But yeah, X-Men Wolverine Origins, and follow the enemies as well. Follow the enemies. Oh wait, I believe he does have a sense where he can. There's something that tells him where to go next. Like his sense of smell will tell him where to go next, because it's Wolverine from the comics. He has his sense of smell is superior, way superior to humans. So he can smell things from way, way, way back. So yeah. Last of Us, mainly because it's a action adventure. Well, not action adventure, it's a story oriented game. Listening for dialogue, that's the main thing. There's no map to tell you, okay, go here. But sometimes there will be hints, and like in the world, telling you, okay, there'll be like a certain arrow or whatever, or like a certain prompt telling you, okay, this object is important, or this door is important, go through this door. And yeah, well, very common in these types of games. Very common in like a Last of Us or the modern God of War, like the God of War 4, right? So we even know God of War 4 had that game, had mini maps, but this one had no mini map. So yeah, Last of Us. Again, dialogue, and I go to like wherever I see like inventory, like magazines, healing items, artifacts, and all that. I go to those areas too, and it really that helps me figure out where to go next and where I haven't been before. Crash Bandicoot, now not much to say here. There is no map because it's pretty linear. It's a remake of a 90s game, right? So it's super linear. You're just going from it's platforming, and timing your jumps, avoiding enemies that you can't get hit once, and just mainly going wherever the enemies are and just moving forward, going forward, and it gets more complicated than when you get to Crash 3. As Crash 3, there is different paths to go. Or Crash 2 or whatever, they introduce different paths, so you can go one path or another path, or when you go one path, you miss out on certain artifacts or rewards or gems, right? So yeah, DMC 1 because it's an older game, right? It's 2001, so 21 years ago, and yeah, mainly it was annoying because I remember walking through the damn hallways. Oh, these long ass hallways, they're so annoying. But yeah, it's mainly going to where you haven't been before, trying to figure out where to be. And I got lost constantly. There's lots of puzzles in this, and 3 as well. DMC 3. Where haven't I been before? Or is this room new? And what's special in this room? And yeah, so on. So you ask yourself questions. God of War 3, same idea. It's the same idea. That same genre as DMC, hack and slash type, but and understand this is one of the more puzzle heavy games that I've played. Again, understanding, finishing the puzzles to move on to the next area, or I fight a horde of enemies to move on to the next area, so on. But understanding where you haven't been before, and a lot of the areas in this game will stand out, right? You'll be seeing like these ancient Greek labyrinths, and basically the underworld, which is like Greek mythology's version of hell. Basically, you're in hell. You go to the sky, go to different temples, or like a grassland temple. It's it's pretty cool. It's really, really, really cool. But yeah, so understanding where you haven't been before, and the bosses will kind of guide you along the way, and the enemies as well. Wherever there are enemies, that's where you more likely go. So games without mini maps, more so. I have more games with maps than games without mini maps. I mean, and again, I'm talking about in game. So this is the in game. I'm not talking about manuals. It's in game maps or mini maps. Share, subscribe, guys. Thanks for watching.